Hello, this is Joe from Nerd in Korea. We're doing our budget interesting commanders. This time looking at the budget aggro commanders on EDHrec, our top 5 for that. Your input. So yeah, I've covered over 20 different ones of this. I think it's around 25 now. I'm running out of ideas, frankly. What themes would you guys like to see? I would prefer to work on things that actually interest people. So yeah. If you have any ideas, I'd love to hear them. About aggro. So aggro is defined by doing small amounts of fast, consistent damage. Right? So this is a very different kind of build. I think it's a very common one as well. Like, the numbers that are listed for the aggro decks are quite low, I think. Like, well, even the top one is well under 1,000. I don't think that's very realistic. I think a lot of decks are aggro decks, but first of all, you'd say, like, I had a deck that one of my friends said was an aggro deck, and I was like, oh yeah, it is, And it was a token artifact deck. And it's like, oh yeah, that actually is, it is an aggro deck though too. So I wouldn't really call it aggro first, I'd say token deck and then maybe artifact. So yeah, I think it's something that kind of gets lost in translation a bit, but yeah. It's a secondary theme, I guess. It's kind of secondary, I think is the wrong word. Over super type theme? I don't know what to call it. Anyway. Please hit like and subscribe. It helps so much. And if you don't hit like and subscribe, let me think. They're going to throw out all of your favorite comic books from when you're younger. Yeah, your mom's going to find them in the attic and she's going to be like, oh, this must be garbage, and then they're all gone. Yeah, hopefully that hasn't happened. That actually, well, not exactly that happened to me, but similar. In the 99, okay, Rose Rune Treasurer, 3 in a red for this. The first 2 creatures, any kind of creature, token, non-token, doesn't matter, you get a treasure token. So that's a good start. And then the third or more, you can pay any amount of mana and do that amount of damage to any creature or any target, I should say. So yeah, if you can get even just 2 creatures entering every turn, even if they're tokens, you can get ramp basically, and after that you're going to be able to turn your ramp into damage. Only 18 cents. I feel like this should be, maybe it's the, yeah, for, sorry, 3 in a red for a 4/3. I think it's the casting cost that holds us back. Even if it was like 2 in a red and a 2/1, I bet you this would be like a really popular card. Anyway. Perforating Artist. Okay, 1 and black red, so this is our Rakdos. It has Death Touch. Sorry, it's a 3/2 with Death Touch. At the beginning of your end step, if you attacked this turn, each opponent loses 1 life, 3 life, unless that player sacrifices a non-land permanent of your choice or discards a card. So yeah, this is going to get your damage in consistently and low amounts. I actually really like this card, or you can force them to like start sacrificing things, or like, yeah, discarding cards, which is might seem like something you can do at the time, and then all of a sudden another turn later you're like, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. So yeah, 20 cents. Next up is probably the most common one on this list, Goblin Bombardment. 2 in a red for this enchantment. Sacrifice a creature, it deals 1 damage to target. Very simple, right? Gives you a sack outlet and small amounts of damage. So if you can make this pile of token creatures, just sack it and take your opponent out. Very easy little win con there. 192. Number 5. Alright, so we got Lateral Blade of the Elves, 2 black-green Golgari, a 2/3 with Menace. Force CMC for 2/3 with Menace. Not great, not terrible, but when she deals combat damage to a player, create that many 1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens. So anytime she gets damage through, And she has evasion, she has menace. You're just going to make these, like, hopefully large number. If you get her damage up, it's going to be a large number of elves, just like cranking them out. And yeah, you can tap her and 10 untapped elves you control. Each opponent loses 10 life and you gain 10 life. So yeah, that is a pretty big win. I actually play an elf kindred deck. I'm getting her as my commander and replacing it with what was the zombie horror one? I forget his name now. Anyway, yeah, he has vigilance and menace, and yeah, his stats are equal to the number of elves you have on the plane or on the battlefield and in the graveyard. So not bad, but this is definitely much better. I actually thought about doing this in the first place, and I think at the time this was like a good $5 or more card. So yeah, this is something that's dropped, I think, recently. Again, unless I have it completely wrong. Anyway, 45 cents. So, some great ones here. Elvish War Master, 1 and a green for this 2/2. First of all, 2 CMC for 2/2, not bad. Whenever one or more elf token or other elves enter the battlefield, you may create a 1/1 green elf creature token. This ability triggers only once each turn. That's important because you got things like right here, Imperious Perfect, where you can pay a green, tap her, make an elf. Then you can basically make an elf on someone else's turn, and then make a bonus elf. So yeah, so that's the kind of thing you should look for to like get extra like benefits out of it. But yeah, the also 4/3 or 5 green. 7 to activate an ability is a lot. I'm not saying it's not, but elves you control get +2/+2 and gain death touch until end of turn. Wow. There's your win con right there. You make a bunch of these tokens, you give everything death touch and just swing. So yeah. And also, this can be used defensively as well. I have used this ability defensively. You need to keep a crazy amount of mana open, but elves are really great with even Elvish Archdruid. You tap him, you get green mana equal to the number of elves you control. So you can kind of have a whole bunch of mana held up on one tap. A lot of times people maybe don't fully realize at first. They don't say, oh, that's actually like 7 mana by tapping that one thing. They don't. Yeah, it's not like you're used to in this game. Anyway, 106 as it. All right, Elvish Archdruid, 1 green. Other elf creatures you control get +1/+1. You can tap them to add green for each elf you control. Just tons of mana and your anthem effect. Everything you want. 43 cents only. I don't know why, but anyway. Imperious Perfect. For 2 and a green, this is a 2/2. Other elves you control get +1/+1. Again, other elves. So yeah, not her, but everything else. Like all those tokens, for instance. Pay a green tap to create an elf 1/1 elf warrior creature token. Again, for setting off triggers and things like that is incredibly useful because you don't have to do that on your turn. You can wait until whoever's turn and then do that. So yeah, it'll help you get those extra elves down. 40 cents. Number 4. Okay, Henzi Toolbox Tor? Maybe just Tor. I don't know how to say the end, but anyway. Black, red, green. So we've got our Jund 3/3. For 3 different mana, I'd expect more than just a 3/3, but okay, you know what? Each creature spell you cast with mana value 4 or greater has Blitz. So this is just giving everything that has a higher CMC Blitz. Again, creatures Blitz. I shouldn't say everything. The Blitz cost is equal to its mana cost. Okay, so that might not sound like a really big deal, but yeah, Blitz. Basically, you cast the creature, it gets haste at the beginning of that turn. You sack it. So anything that gives you bonuses from sacking, anything that lets you have great death triggers or things like that, really useful in this deck. We're also going to have effects that let us pull things back out of the graveyard, obviously, right? Green and black are both really good at pulling things out of the graveyard, so this is not much of a limitation. This might actually be kind of like an advantage. Blitz costs you, you pay costs 1 less for each time you've cast your commander from the command zone this game. So yeah, you cast them once, it's 1. Cast them twice, it's 2. That cost reduction is going to like basically make up for any kind of commander tax. Probably more than. Even, yeah, if you manage to use it, even if you cast them twice and cast 2 things with Blitz, you've got your commander tax back, right? You saved those 2 mana. Anyway, 50 cents. Enduring Courage. Okay. 2 red. Oh, sorry. Yeah. He's in 310 decks. I keep forgetting to say that. Again, I think it's much higher, but we don't really like always note when things are like. You probably call this a sack deck or something like that. You wouldn't call it like an aggro deck. So anyway. Enduring Courage. Yeah, 2 red for this 3/3. So whenever another creature you control enters, it gets +2/+0 and gains haste until end of turn. This is nice because it's not just the Blitz creatures. The Blitz creatures get haste anyway. It's just going to give them +2 damage, but any creatures that you pull out of your graveyard or you cast normally are also getting haste and are getting that +2 damage as well. Also, this, if you cast it for Blitz, it'll sacrifice itself and then it automatically comes back as an enchantment. So yeah, having things that just like automatically bounce themselves back from the graveyard, especially come back from the graveyard and become enchantments. Oh, that's great. 193. Primeval Herald for 3 in the green. This is one where I think it is going to go up in cost, I swear. Alright, so he's got Trample, 3/1. So whenever he enters or attacks, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, tapped, then shuffle. So enters or attacks. So even if he enters, you get 1, you swing at him once, you get another one. Again, if you cast him for his Blitz, he's going to enter and you can immediately attack, and then yeah, you get 2, and then he's going to sacrifice, and hey, you've got 2 lands for 4 mana. That's a decent rate right there. Anyway, 40 cents. Bringer of the Last Gift. Okay, 6 black. Again, this is a flying 6/6, so when it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, so you do need to cast it, each player sacrifices all other creatures they control. Then each player returns all creature cards from their graveyard that weren't put there this way to the battlefield. So all of those things you've been sacking all game, you're just pulling everything back and throwing it in. Even if it's in the same turn, that's okay. Just did not like die to this ability. So yeah, if you have some other kind of sack outlet, then you can just sack your whole board, do this, and then everyone else sacks their thing, and then yeah, you put everything back. 30 cents. Number 3. Okay, so Tovolar. I'm pretty sure I called him Tovlar before, but I'm realizing there's a second O. Dire Overlord. Okay. So 1 red-green for this 3/3. He is in 362 decks. Once again, probably much higher, but it's counting just aggro. So yeah. Whenever a wolf or werewolf you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Can't complain about that. The main kind of sneaky benefit here is werewolves, often their attack power is higher than like their casting cost would normally justify. So that's what we're looking for here. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more wolves and or werewolves, it becomes night and transform any number of human werewolves you control day bound. Again, so you can automatically make it night and transform all of your werewolves or all of your human werewolves. I think all werewolves are human. Long story. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they all are, right? I know in the like 2nd edition D&D, elves couldn't be werewolves. That just killed them. I think is what happened. So yeah. Only humans could get the, like, werewolf disease. Anyway. The main thing here about, like, the day and night cycle, people don't like it. It's pedantic, it's annoying. Always being like, oh, how many did you cast? How many did you cast every turn? It's kind of like adding an extra step and to something that's already quite complicated. This simplifies it because it's just like every turn you're like, okay, my turn, night, my turn, night, my turn, night. And yeah, hopefully it stays that way. Anyway, 50 cents. Okay, and yeah, when he transforms, he becomes this 4/4 instead, which is not bad for 3. And yeah, he still has the, wolf or werewolf dealing damage, draws you a card. Also, for X red green, target wolf or werewolf you control gets +X+0 until and trample until end of turn. So this is something you can activate anytime you want, and it really makes blocking choices for other people difficult, right? Anytime they're blocking a wolf or werewolf, you can just like pump it up and all of a sudden it's running over and doing damage anyway. So yeah, blocking choices become really difficult when they don't know what the math is, right? So yeah, there's your kind of sneaky getting your damage through even though maybe it's blocked over and over again. Also, you could activate this more than once per turn and be able to draw extra cards for more wolves or werewolves dealing damage. Anyway, 50 cents. So we've got Immerwolf for 1 red-green is a 2/2 with Intimidate, which is nice in this as well. Again, a wolf with Intimidate just means it's harder to block. Other wolf and werewolf creatures you control get +1/+1. Anthem effect, always welcome. Non-human werewolves you control can't transform. So yeah. Non-human werewolves. When werewolves transform, they lose the human keyword. They lose it. So yeah, basically as soon as they transform into werewolves, they stay that way. This just locks them in that state, which is something you want. 70 cents. Then we've got, for a red and a green, Kessig Naturalist, human werewolf. 2/2, and whenever it attacks, add red or green until the next turn. Oh, sorry, until end of turn, not until the next turn. Till end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. So again, usually end of main 1, if you had any like mana that was tapped and you didn't use, it's gone. End of combat, gone. End of main 2, gone, right? Anytime like a phase or a step ends, your mana pool empties out completely. So this mana he creates is just going to stay there. Basically, so you don't have to use it in combat is all it means. Alright, so, but he transforms into a werewolf, surprise, surprise. Again, he has that Anthem effect, +1/+1 for other werewolves, and he still gets the mana making, basically. So yeah. Also, he becomes a 3/3 instead of a 2/2, which is nice. And Full Moon Rise for 1 and a green. This is an enchantment. Other werewolf creatures get +1/+0 and have trample. So with your commander, all of your werewolves getting trample and the extra damage, you know, that's not bad either, but it's mainly about the trample. That's really going to, it's going to be a lot of card draw for one thing. Damage, yes, but also card draw. And it's a blocking nightmare. Anyway, 50 cents. Number 2. All right. Ishin, I'm not sure how to say his name. Anyway, Ishin, 2 heavens as 1. Mardu, yeah. I love me some Mardu. Red, white, black for this 3/4. 3 mana, different mana colors, and more than just a 3/3. Okay, makes sense. If a creature attacking causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Okay, so that's something to read carefully. I know the first time I read it, I was like, combat triggers double. No, that's not what it says. Combat triggers, yes, but also anything that's triggered by a creature attacking is doubled. So this can be useful. Even it doesn't even specify you control the creature. If you get some kind of trigger happening because someone else attacks with the creature, you get double. Again. Yeah, you really want to get the most out of just attacking with this, which is perfect for Mardu. Mardu is I almost think it's like the Gruul of tricolors, where it's just punching, really. It's so aggressive. Anyway, 177. Oh, I always forget. 603. He's in 603 decks. Really way more. Again, we don't really count aggro, I think. Okay, Alesha, who laughs at fate. I wanted to change up my Alesha, who smiles at death commander with this, and then I was like, oh, it's not Mardu, it's only Rakdos. Come on, add the white anyway. For a red and a black, one black red, again Rakdos for this 2/2 first strike. When Alesha attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So every time this attacks, it will get bigger. And with his trigger, that means she gets double. She gets +2/+2 every time she attacks. At the beginning of your end step, if you attack this turn, return target creature card with mana value less than or equal to Alesha's power from your graveyard to the battlefield. So this is triggered by attacking, which I believe means it happens twice. Also, she doesn't need to attack for this to happen. Just, yeah. At the beginning of your end step, if you attacked this turn. So if you attack with a 1/1 token creature, sure, you still attacked, this happens. Anyway, 50 cents. Next up we have Mardu Ascendancy. Mardu! Yeah. Love me some Mardu. Red, white, black. Whenever a non-token creature you control attacks, put a 1/1 red goblin creature token onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. So again, this is going to make 2 of those, which is nice. Just having 2 extra attackers can be beneficial, even if they're only 1/1 goblins. Maybe you've got anthems, maybe you're just making it more difficult for them to figure out what to block and where. That does a lot more work than I think people give it credit for. And then you could sacrifice this. Creatures you control get +0/+3 until end of turn. So in some situations that might be useful. It's not the main reason you put that in the deck. That's kind of a plan B thing. And with 64 cents. Tectonic Giant. 2 red. This is crazy. In this deck, this is insane. Okay. So whenever he attacks or becomes target of a spell an opponent controls, choose 1. He deals 3 damage to each opponent. Again, so you can do this twice to deal 6 damage to each opponent just by swinging him once. Goy. And exile the top 2 cards of your library. Choose one of them. Until end of turn, or your next turn, you may play that card. The pseudo card draw red likes to do. The exile until end of next turn is nice to see instead of end of that turn. Gives you a bit more breathing room. So 25 cents. Number 1. Okay, and there's some really loud kid in the hallway. Hopefully you don't hear that. Crankle Mob Boss. 2 red for this 3/3. Don't really have to explain Crankle, I think. I think a lot of people know, should be familiar. But anyway, 720 decks. This is the highest. For aggro, this is where I said, yeah, this is wrong. This is definitely wrong. People are just not... They have aggro decks, they don't count as being aggro. They count as being a token deck or a sack deck or something like that. It's always another thing that goes with the aggro. I think that's why we don't count it. Anyway. Tap Cranko. Create X 1/1 red goblin creature tokens, where X is the number of goblins you control. Goblins are good. Especially if you're looking for a fast, low cost, kind of deck or creature type, like aggro decks. This is a perfect match for aggro, is goblins. There's playing with haste, there's playing with all kinds of bonus effects that will just really keep doling it out. I covered I'll try to put it in the other corner, right? One of my students has a Krenko deck. He loves it. And he wins with it a lot. So maybe that's why he loves it. But yeah, it gets the work done. And yeah, just really... I also did a series on goblins before I forget. So yeah, you might want to check that out as well. I'll see if I can put a link for the whole playlist. I'm not sure if I can do that. I think I can. I don't recall though. Anyway, a mono red deck for aggro does feel right? That's another thing I'd say about this. Anyway, 105. So we got Goblin Negotiations. This is what I just ordered for my student, actually. This is a new one. So yeah. I think did this originally come out in Foundations? I think so. So X red. Goblin Negotiations deals X damage to target creature. Create a number of 1/1 red goblin token creatures equal to the amount of excess damage dealt this way. I love that effect, especially like excess damage. I talked about this on another video, the X-Spell video, unsurprisingly. Usually X-Spells, you end up doing way too much damage and then you're just kind of throwing it away. Again, if it has 2 toughness and you do like 9 damage, you just threw away 7 damage, right? Here, it doesn't throw it away. It gives you 7 1/1 tokens, which is pretty awesome. Anyway, 20 cents only. I wish it was an instant, that's my only thing. But still, Goblin War Chief, 1 red. Goblin spells you cast costs 1 less to cast. Goblins are already cheap, making them even cheaper is just so good. Also, goblins you control have haste. So all of those tokens you're creating, haste now. They can just swing immediately. And there are times where you will want to do that. But anyway, 69 cents only. Not bad for... Did I say it was 2-2? I felt like I skipped over it because I got too excited with the other part. Next up, Impact Tremors. This is really the meat and potatoes of like... Or this effect is the meat and potatoes of a... of a Krenko deck. Anyway, whenever a creature you control enters, this enchantment deals 1 damage to each opponent. So again, Krenko's going to tap and create a whole pile of goblins, which is just going to like deal 1 damage to each opponent for each goblin. And there are a whole bunch of effects that you can get that are basically the same as this, and you can stack them, right? So you can end up making, like every time you make a goblin, everyone takes like 3 damage or something. And then you just don't have to do a whole lot of damage to win the game right there. 130. The list. Okay. So we've got Lathril, Blade of the Elves, 45 cents. Henzi, Toolbox Torre, 50 cents. Torvald, Dire Overlord, 50 cents. Ishin, Two Heavens as One, 177. Krenko Mob Boss, 105. Alright, take it easy.